time for convening having arrived, the Senate will come to order. Would ask unauthorized visitors to exit the chamber at this time, and the Senate will come to order. Chair recognizes Senator from the 54th.
Thank you, Mr. President. The journal has been read and found to be correct.
Thank you, Senator, for your works on the journal. Is there objection dispensing with the reading of the journal? The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Are there any motions to reconsider? Right, now's that, right? Senator from the 39th, are you wishing to move on the reconsideration motion from last night, yesterday?
Well, yes, sir. What are the rules of debate on a reconsidered motion?
3 minutes each side.
I'd like 3 minutes.
Okay. Senator from the 59th, you wish to be recognized now, or you just... Now, Chair recognizes Senator from the 56th on... This is dealing with the reconsideration motion from yesterday.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, it is Friday. It's going to be a long day, so I will be brief in the well. Yesterday, we passed 3 good bills to help out our state of Georgia and our very own Fulton County where we sit today. This bill would be the last one we talked about in relating to the magistrate court and the chief judge. I would ask that you vote against reconsideration so we can move forward with the other business of the day. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 39th.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, I will remind you that this bill, what this bill does is give, and, let me just say that, I'm inclined to allow as many elected officials to be just that, elected officials. So I don't necessarily have a problem with making the chief magistrate judge an elected position. What I do have a problem with is giving the governor the authority to appoint what is in effect an incumbent. As I told you yesterday, we know who the appointee is going to be. What this bill is a reflection of the cronyism and the corruption that we have seen in appointments here at the Gold Dome for a while. And keep this in mind. To give the governor the appointment power, you should know that the governor has appointed several Superior Court judges in Fulton County, and they have all been what? White males. So with that kind of history of appointment, I am not comfortable with this, and that's why I made the motion to reconsider. It's not right for Fulton County. I believe it's a violation of home rule to single out Fulton County in this way, and I would ask you, well, as a matter of fact, when I return to my desk, I'm going to make a motion to withdraw the motion to reconsider if the president will recognize me. But I just think it is grossly unfair. There are more Fulton County bills on the way. I apologize to you for having make this, as one person said, like an Atlanta City Council meeting. We ought to be dealing with important things like the budget, education, health care, as opposed to devoting our time to punishing the most populous county in the state. I yield the well, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes Senator on 39th.
Mr. President, I would like unanimous consent to withdraw my motion to reconsider.
Is there objection? Without objection, the motion to reconsider will be removed. Is there objection to the confirmation of the journal? Chair is none, and the journal is confirmed. All senators having bills to introduce, please bring them to the Secretary's desk at this time. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions.
Senate Bill 262 by Senators Jones of the 25th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 3 of Article 7 of Chapter
Higher
3.
Education.
Senate Bill 263 by Senator Jackson of the 2nd and others.
Slow go.
Senate Bill 264 by Senator Jackson of the 2nd.
Slow go.
Senate Resolution 613 by Senator Mullis of the 53rd. A resolution
Transportation.
Senate Resolution 617 by Senator Wilkinson of the 50th. A resolution.
I'm sorry,
618 by Senators Beach of the 21st.
Rules.
Senate Resolution 623 by Senators McCoon of the 29th. And others.
Rules.
Senate Resolution 625 by Senators Orrick of the 36th and others.
Health and Human Services.
Through with the order, Mr. President.
First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions.
House Bill 380 by Representative Riley of the 50th and
Slow
others.
go.
House Bill 528 by Representative Yates.
Slow go.
House Bill 561 by Representative
Slow
Nimmer.
go.
House Bill 575 by
Slow
Representative.
go.
House Bill 589 by Representative Jackson of the 128th.
Slow go.
House Bill 590 by Representative Kelly of the 16th.
Slow go.
House Bill 591 by Representative Clanton of the 75th.
Slow go.
House Bill 593 by Representative Jackson.
Slow go.
House Bill 594 by Representative Martin of the
State
49th.
and local governmental institutions.
House Bill 596 by Representative Pruitt of the 149th.
Slow go.
House Bill 598 by Representative Willard of the
Slow go.
51st. House Bill 603 by
Slow
Representative.
go.
House Bill 604 by Representative Jones of the 47th and others.
State and local governmental operations.
Through with the order, Mr. President.
Clerk read reports standing committee.
Mr. President, the Senate Education and Youth Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that House Bill 283 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Tippins of the 37th. Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Education and Youth Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that House Bill 70 do pass by substitute, that House Bill 244 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Tippins of the 37th. Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Ethics Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that House Bill 87 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Jeffries of the 17th. Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Finance Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that House Bill 34 do pass, that House Bill 250 do pass, that House Bill 463 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Hill of the 32nd. Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Natural Resources and the Environment Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that Senate Resolution 502 do pass, that House Bill 497 do pass by substitute, that Senate Resolution 531 do pass, that House Bill 320 do pass by substitute, that House Bill 189 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Tollison of the 20th. Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Public Safety Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that House Bill 104 do pass, that House Bill 482 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Carter the 1st. Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Special Judiciary Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that House Bill 150 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Thompson the 5th. Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate State and Local Governmental Operations Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that House Bill 253 do pass, that House Bill 281 do pass, that House Bill 447 do pass, that House Bill 452 do pass, that House Bill 467 do pass, that House Bill 472 do pass, that House Bill 476 do pass, that House Bill 527 do pass, that House Bill 529 do pass, that House Bill 573 do pass, that House Bill 574 do pass, that House Bill 576 do pass, that House Bill 578 do pass, that House Bill 442 do pass, that House Bill 450 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Ligon of the 3rd. Chairman. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Second readers.
Senate Resolution 502 by Senator Jackson II and others. Southern Alliance for Clean Energy. Senate Resolution 531 by Senator Tollison of the 20th. Transportation, Georgia Department of. Maximize the use of funding mechanisms aimed at reducing diesel emissions. House Bill 34 by Representative Parson of the 44th and others. Income tax credit. Clean energy property. Include certain commercial geothermal heat pumps. House Bill 70 by Representative Golick of the 40th and others. Special needs students. Waiver of one of the scholarship requirements under certain conditions. Provide. House Bill 87 by Representative Hightower of the 68th and others. Elections. Use of the boundaries of a gated community as the boundaries of a precinct. Authorize. House Bill 104 by Representative Carson of the 46th and others. Special license plates. Supporting the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. Add. House Bill 150 by Representative Bruce of the 61st and others. Law enforcement officers, the reproduction of arrest booking photographs, enact provisions. House Bill 189 by Representative Buckner of the 137th and others. Natural Resources, Department of, notify local governing authorities before making certain significant changes in park service require. House Bill 244 by Representative Nix of the 69th and others. Elementary and secondary education, annual performance evaluations, revise certain provisions. House Bill 250 by Representative Rice of the 95th. Local excise tax, sale or use of energy, revise certain provisions. House Bill 283 by Representative Coleman of the 97th and others. Education, update and revise terminology, provisions. House Bill 320 by Representative Hardin of the 148th and others. Solid waste management, currently existing and compliant inert waste landfill operations from regulatory permitting, exempt. House Bill 463 by Representative Rice of the 95th and others. Motor vehicle licenses, registration rates under International Registration Plan for apportioned vehicles change. House Bill 482 by Representative Neal of the 2nd and others. Corrections, Department of, employees serving as certified peace officers may retain their weapons under certain circumstances, provide. House Bill 497 by Representative Tanner of the 9th and others. Georgia Boat Safety Act, numbering and registration of vessels, revised provisions. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Good morning. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. I first want to thank God because without him, none of this would be possible. I would not be standing here. And I'd also like to thank each and every one of the representatives in this room for all the work and the service that you do, as well as the speaker, Mr. Ralston, and the Minority Whip, Carolyn Hoogley. I just thank you once again for allowing me and inviting me here. Miss Columbus is an honor because the Miss Georgia pageant is held there every year in June. This year will be June 19th through the 22nd. So I just want to thank you all, and I'm going to dedicate this year, of course, to service because that's what you all do. Thank you.
Let me ask the Senate to come to order and take your seats. We have a special group that we want to recognize here this morning. It's always a great honor to have the Atlanta Falcons present with us. All right, the Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 626 by Senator Mullis of the 53rd and others. A resolution recognizing and commending the Atlanta Falcons football team and for other purposes. Whereas the Atlanta Falcons football team joined the NFL in 1965 as an expansion team, and in their 45 years of existence, they have compiled a record of 300 to 402 to 6 with a division championships in 1980, 1998, 2004, 2010, and 2012. And whereas in the 2012-2013 season, the Atlanta Falcons clinched the NFC South with a regular season record of 13-3, garnering one of the top seeds in the NFL playoffs and sending 5 players to the NFL Pro Bowl. Whereas since the start of the 2008 season, the Falcons have recorded 5 consecutive winning seasons for the first time in franchise history, led the NFC in a number of wins with 56, and tied for the NFL's second-best winning percentage at home during the period of 2008 to 2012 with a .825 percentage. And whereas the Atlanta Falcons football team is owned by businessman Arthur Blank and 8 limited partners, Ronald Canaris, Warwick Dunn, Douglas Hertz, John Imlay, Ed Mendel, Derek Smith, John Williams, and Brian Barker. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend the Atlanta Falcons for the legacy they are leaving through their efforts so positively representative of the state of Georgia and extend their sincere best wishes for future success. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. It is always a great honor to welcome individuals to the Senate, but none are more special to us than obviously the Falcons. Even the senator from the 35th is waving her flag with Falcon pride. So the senator from the 53rd will speak to the resolution, but I do just want to say a special thank you to Arthur Blank and what he has done to really create a franchise that makes all of us very, very proud, not only in Atlanta but in this great state. And his staff has worked very diligently to continue to build this franchise and compete for a championship like they have demonstrated, and even a Super Bowl championship that's right around the corner, I'm confident of. But we're very proud of you, Arthur, along with your team, and look forward to great success. And it's a true honor to have you here with us today. To speak to the resolution, I call upon the distinguished Rules Chairman, the senator from the 53rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. What an honor it is to have one of the greatest teams in America right here with us today. The Atlanta Falcons joined the NFL in 1965 as an expansion team. Since then, they have achieved division championships in 1980, 1998, 2004, 2010, and of course, just recently in 2012. In the 2012-2013 season, the Atlanta Falcons clinched the NFC South with a regular season record of 13-3, garnering one of the top seeded positions and the NFL playoffs, and sending 5 players to the NFL Pro Bowl. Over the last 5 years, under their leadership, they have achieved many accolades and many awards, but the Atlanta Falcons claim and are one of the best franchise teams in the NFL. Please welcome Arthur Blank and the Atlanta Falcons.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Senator Mullis. Let me first say I have to apologize. I have to them personally, but I had spinal fusion 8 days ago, and I tried to get a shirt and tie on this morning, and I was unable to do it. But it's an honor to be here, and I want to thank all the senators that are here for the special recognition and for all you do for our state. 5 years ago, I had the good fortune of hiring 2 very talented leaders, our general manager, Thomas Dimitroff, and our head coach, Mike Smith. And the 2 of them, along with the rest of our organization, drafted Matt Ryan, obviously a great player. And same time, our president, Rich McKay, who's to my left here, who's now CEO of our team, began his stadium journey. So since 1966, the senator said, we've been playing football when I acquired the team in 2002 for 36 years. The franchise had never had back-to-back winning seasons. The last 5 seasons have been all winning seasons, last 3 playoff runs, 4 in the last 5 years, and a 5-year record that's second only to one other team in the National Football League and the best in the National Football League Conference. So it takes these players behind us, the Jonathan Babineaus, wave your hands, guys, Kenneth Cohn, Peter Kahns, and Jonathan Massaquoi, all here today to achieve at that level. It takes a great coaching staff. Coach Smith has built a great coaching staff. Thomas has built a great organization in terms of player evaluations and football operations. And he's not here today because we're still in the middle of free agency and we're 34 days away from our draft. And we have 11 picks in this year's draft. So we have a lot of work to do. So there's lots of people to thank, but I really want to thank you and thank our fans, really, on behalf of the entire Falcons organization. If you are Falcons fans this past season, and obviously everybody here is, it was a wonderful season for us. We finished about 10 yards short of where we wanted to be to get to the final game. It was a pretty close call at the end, but we'll be back, and we'll be back, and we'll be better. So on behalf of really all of the organization and our fans, we have the best fans, we believe, in America, the best city, the best state. We appreciate their loyalty and their sense of pride and everything they do for us day in, day out. And I want to close, if I can, by recognizing several people, if I have a minute to do it. I want to thank the governor and the Senate in the House and the Georgia World Congress Center and its Board of Governors for your support and your efforts in behalf of our new stadium project for the Falcons and for the city and for the state. Beginning with the passing of legislation in 2010 to extend the hotel-motel tax to fund successor stadium for the Dome, we worked with the Georgia World Congress Center and its board for the last 2.5 years. There's been a lot of press of late in the last 2.5 months working with the city, and they've been great. But without the work done by the Senate and the House and the Congress Center and its board and its leadership, we wouldn't be where we are today. So between our significant financial commitments and the partnership of the state and the city, this will be a model public-private partnership, but one that will obviously keep the Falcons where they need to be for the next 35 years in an iconic stadium that we promise you will be outstanding. It'll be a great economic development tool, not only for the city, but the state, but for all the legacy events that currently exist in the Congress Center and the Dome, and ones that we'll be able to compete for on a national basis. And at the same time, will give us the ability, which is important to everybody, to make sure we make sustainable, long-term changes in the communities that surround the new facility. So we appreciate the cooperation and the spirit of Governor Deal, the legislators, the Georgia World Congress Center, Mayor Reed, the Atlanta City Council, Invest Atlanta, in advancing a project that we know in years to come that we'll all be very, very proud of. Thank you again for the resolution and for everything you do to support our franchise. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tim.
Good to see you. Thanks. Thanks so much. We're gonna get a picture down on the steps. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay. Going this way for pictures. Yeah. Call us or something. Thank you, Mr. Blank. A chance to shake your hand. Let's get some more. Let's get some more pictures. Good to see you. I don't like where you are. You need to up and take it. Yeah, I know it. I got to.
It is now time for the morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse? Motions to excuse. Chair recognizes Senator from the 54th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 17th. Business outside the chamber.
17th, without objection, Senator from the 17th will be excused. Are there any other motions to excuse? Senators, please signify your presence by voting the yay switch. The Secretary will unlock the machine.
All members that are in the chamber will be seated. We're about to go on to the rules calendar. If you have meetings that are critical to the future of this state, then take those to the anteroom. There are members who do care about paying attention to presentations of bills and the debate on bills, and we are going on to the rules calendar at this time. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 194. Senate Bill 194.
Senate Bill 194 by Senator Mullis, the 53rd, a bill of entitled Admin Code Section 12-3-50, relating to powers and duties, Department of Natural Resources, relative to historic preservation, promotion, so as to include an exemption for restoration of certain barns used to promote Georgia tourist destinations. The bill has been for the House Committee on Natural Resource and Environment. The committee recommends that the bill do pass. The bill being read this day for the third time.
Chair recognizes Chairman Neal to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and ladies and gentlemen of the House. I know we're all thrilled to be here this Friday morning, and I'm honored to get things started with Senate Bill 194. I know you've all seen barns with Sea Rock City on the roof, painted on the roof of those barns, and Rock City is a great tourist attraction up in my corner of the state. This bill, Senate Bill 194, addresses historic barns, specifically that have had signs painted on them, allowing the Department of Natural Resources to, through an application process, allow those historic barns to be restored back to their original condition. And the only advertising that can be put on those barns would be the original advertising that was on there, whether it is Rock City or some other form of advertising on those barns. It affects about 20 or 30 barns across the state is all. A good economic development piece to start us off on a Friday morning. And Mr. Speaker, if there are no questions, I yield the well and ask for favorable consideration for Senate Bill 194.
You have no questions.
Thank you very much.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 194 will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of Senate Bill 194. The ayes are 164, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 1. Senate Bill 1.
Senate Bill 1 by Senator Ligon of the 3rd, a bill of entitled Act entitled 33, Title 19, relating respectively to insurance, domestic relations, to provide both parents shall have equal access to the child's health insurance information and records. Bill has been for the House Committee on Judiciary. The committee recommends that this bill do pass. The bill is being read today for the third time.
Solicitor General will not be able to practice law other than being Solicitor General, and any part-time Solicitor General that represents the state in any state court will not be able to represent criminal defendants in the
Okay, I think most of the excitement has settled down, and we'll get back to work and back to our business. It is now time for our morning. We're going to do the chaplain of the day first, or excuse me, the doctor of the day, and then we will have our chaplain of the day. Do the doctor of the day report. We would like to present you the doctor of the day, and to do so, I call upon the distinguished Majority Whip, the senator from the 18th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate. We are very honored today to have a friend of mine, Dr. Edward H. Young, MD, diplomat of the American Board of Internal Medicine, as our physician of the day. He's a founding partner and president of Hospital Specialists of Georgia, which is a private practice inpatient medical group. He's been a full-time hospitalist since 1998. Dr. Young earned his medical degree from Mercer University School of Medicine in Macon, and he conducted his internship and residency at the Medical Center of Central Georgia in Macon. Dr. Young is the assistant clinical professor of inpatient medicine at Mercer University, and he is a member of the Medical Association of Georgia and past president of the Bibb County Medical Society. We are very honored and pleased to have Dr. Edward H. Young as our doctor of the day. Would you join me in welcoming him?
Thank you very much, and I appreciate all the service that you all do and the sacrifice you do in coming here and taking care of things for our state. And regarding our state, on a sports-related note, let's all cheer for the Mercer Bears, who are still playing basketball and took down the University of Tennessee 2 nights ago. Right. Hear, hear for the Mercer.
Hear, hear, go Mercer. That's great. That's good. Now it's time for our morning devotion, and it is now my distinct honor to recognize the distinguished senator from the 55th District for the purpose of leading us in our pledge and introducing our chaplain of the day. Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will you follow me? We would say the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Georgia flag.
I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag, and to the principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, and moderation.
Good morning. I think I'm excited, not only because I have the pastor of the day, but because we had some special people in here this morning. Got my heart racing. I have a treat this morning from my very own church, the Berean Christian Church at Stone Mountain, and she's Pastor Adrienne Swearingen. She was born and raised in Youngstown, Ohio, by parents Abbott Neal and the late Ann Neal Brown. Adrienne has been married for 35 years to Michael Swearingen, and together they have successfully raised 2 children into adulthood. Pastor Adrienne is a board-certified biblical counselor and is the founder of Holy Matrimony Prophetic Ministries, an outreach ministry that offers premarital and marriage intervention counseling for Christian couples. This ministry also officiates weddings and vow renewal services. She is the published author of 3 books, Cinderella, You Lied to Me, When the Vow Breaks, and Stand, and I Decided to Stay, Now What? All written to encourage those seeking to live out Christian marriages. Pastor Adrian has been a member of the Berean Christian Church for 14 years and currently serves as pastor of biblical counseling. Her favorite passage is found in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge God, and he will direct your path. She firmly believes that anything we seek to do, we should do it with God's blessings, guidance, and direction, knowing that beyond the shadow of a doubt that he will see us through. Please welcome Pastor Adrian Swearingen. We call her Pastor Adrian.
Just want to first thank God for this opportunity and give thanks to your Lieutenant Governor, my Lieutenant Governor, Casey Cagle, giving a special thanks to my district representative, Senator Gloria Butler, that's District 55, and then all of you distinguished leaders and senators and friends here today. And briefly, I just want to say, when I say to you, stepping out and stepping in, that probably means absolutely nothing to you. And hopefully in a very few short minutes, it will mean something to you. I was walking with some friends earlier this week, and one of them stopped me and asked me if I would be in prayer for a job that her and her husband were believing in. And I said, sure, of course. And I went on to ask her what they were praying and what they were saying to God. And she went on to tell me the things they had hoped for and how they continued to ask God for the job. And I then said to her, without thinking really deeply about what I was saying, because I was just talking as I always do, and I said, when are you guys going to step out and step in? And she looked at me as you all are looking at me now. And I quoted to her this passage found in Hebrews 11:1. I said, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. And I went on to say to her that in order for you to get the answer and the victory that you desire in your prayers, you have to step out of just hoping and praying and step into the evidence of things unseen. And she asked me, how do I do that? I said, you just begin thanking him. And I say to you, as leaders who make decisions about districts and cities and people that you represent, that as you pray for what you hope for, we please God because we're operating in faith. But then we got to begin to thank him in advance of what he has done. When we do that, we obligate him because now we're operating in the realm of things unseen. And so many of you in your positions have hopes for your districts. And as God's people, we pray to him, but we tend to never move to obedience by thanking him in advance. This passage speaks of faith as the substance of what we hope for. And a substance could be described as an ingredient. And as an ingredient, when it's mixed with other things, it gives flavor. And when it's all mixed together and heated to the appropriate temperature, it's considered done. A substance can also be something stronger than you, and it gives a feeling of power. Drugs are also called a substance, and if you abuse them, it gives you the power to fail. But when the drug substance is mixed and administered properly, it gives you healing and victory and the power to go on. So if faith is the substance of what we hope for, then our faith in God is our strength when we pray. When we pray by faith with hope, our prayers should be strong because God is omnipotent. God is strong. God is omniscient. God is almighty. God is omnipresent. God is everywhere. So we must move into the evidence of things unseen. So when we step into this prayer, we pray it strong and not so very long, because he heard us the first time. He knows our thoughts. So he knows what we have need of. So the quicker you step out of and step into, God is placed under his word of obligation to his people. So now I just don't hope for the healing in the land, or hope for the marriages of our people, or hope for the nation to be cancer free, or hope for bills to be passed. But now my hope has been placed in God's hands, and I begin to thank him for meeting my needs, and I begin to thank him for my new assignment, and I begin thanking him for my new place in life and for the elevation of all people. Why? Because I've stepped out of saying the same prayer every day, and I've stepped into the evidence of things unseen. So who will take a moment with me this morning to thank God for the evidence of things not seen, the proof that I feel in my soul, the proof that it is well? As government leaders, you should make your decisions based on the evidence of things unseen. 1 Corinthians 2:9 reads, "But it is written, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for you." Amen. Can we all stand for prayer? Father God, we first just come giving you honor today. We come humbly, God, ever so humbly as we know how, God, glorifying your name. Thank you for each and every leader represented in this building today, God. I pray a special blessing over their lives right now, over the lives of the people of the cities that they represent, Lord God. Father, I pray right now, Lord God, that you would fill them with your wisdom, your power, your love, your mercy, your grace, God. We bless you now, God. As we leave here today, God, cover us in your precious blood from the crown of our head to the soles of our feet. And bless us, God, with wisdom. Bless us, God, and bless us indeed. We love you. We praise you. We honor you, and it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
collectively come up with, we should be embarrassed. I've received emails from gun rights activists across the state. Perhaps you have as well. They're frustrated to witness their legislators play games with their God-given rights. Is there a single significant provision in this comprehensive gun bill that hasn't been adulterated? Church carry is now opt-in. Bar carry is now opt-in. This creates a trap for license holders. Should we have to post signs on our homes and businesses indicating whether or not we allow freedom of speech or freedom of religion on premises? Of course not. If you don't like what someone says on your property, you ask them to leave. Why should our Second Amendment rights be any different? We have absolutely no business involving ourselves in the free decisions of private property owners. Campus carry has been compromised with dorm and sporting venue prohibitions. Private colleges are private property. They can and should rightfully set their own policies. But public campuses are owned by the citizens of the state of Georgia. The role of the state is to protect the equal rights of all individuals, not to infringe on them. Even 21-year-old adults that live on a college campus deserve the same respect for their rights as everyone else. As related to church, bar, and campus carry, unlike criminal trespass where you don't commit a crime unless you refuse to leave when asked, mistakenly walking onto a church, bar, or college is enough to get you thrown in jail for a year. I know several of the NRA's provisions were completely dumped. Then we have the useless and dangerous mental health language. These provisions will serve only to create and perpetuate government bureaucracies, violate individual privacy, and encumber law-abiding citizens. Just like criminals, crazy people that would do us harm don't care about our laws. And mark my words, someone is going to try and expand these provisions even further in years to come. This is the new face of gun control. But hey, at least we save a few dollars on license renewals. As elected representatives, the single most important, if not only, responsibility we are tasked with is to protect the individual's natural rights. The people's rights are not something to negotiate, compromise, or trade. Natural rights belong to the people, regardless of the morally invalid statutory laws we continue to impose on them. Legislation in violation of natural law is tyranny. We can do better. The people deserve better. In a moment, it is my intention to make a motion to temporarily suspend the rules so that we can accept an amendment from the floor. The amendment is on your desk. It is designed to correct several of the problems I mentioned above and to restore this legislation to a respectable state in a manner that is minimally intrusive to the existing language. I've heard a lot of talk this session about...
Are there any unanimous consents? Does any senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? Senator from the 29th is recognized. Points of personal privilege. Please give the senator from the 29th your attention on a point of personal privilege.
Mr. President, I rise today on a point of privilege to discuss a matter that arose last week. The origin of this matter runs back the better part of the last decade. After I returned home to Columbus from law school, the issue that really got me involved in local civic affairs was a misuse of 1999 SPLOST dollars in Columbus. $50 million was authorized by the Muskogee County voters to construct a library and a 15.4-acre learning park. In 2006, the Muskogee County School District began to take steps to abandon that learning park. First, the Board of Education said no monies were available. Then, after conducting an open records request, it was revealed that Following an open records request, it was revealed that over $6.1 million in SPLOST dollars remained unspent. The Board of Education's next step was then to invent a needs list to expend those dollars to avoid constructing the learning park. After much debate and discussion, I agreed to represent 6 Muskogee County taxpayers, black and white, male and female, Democrat and Republican, who all objected to this illegal diversion of taxpayer dollars. After being dismissed in the trial court for lack of standing, we appealed, and a unanimous Georgia Supreme Court reversed the dismissal, ultimately leading to a settlement. In the first 47 days of this matter, the Muskogee County School District was charged over $50,000 by their attorneys. I criticized the Muskogee County School District for approving construction of a $31 million central administration building while students were being forced to learn in rundown trailers. And yes, I criticized the Muskogee County School District for their procurement practices, including accepting lavish gifts, including junkets paid for by potential vendors. More recently, there's been criticism of a no-bid sole source contract for legal services that has been renewed without significant review for 63 years. There's some facts about this that I'll briefly review. Over the last 5 years, the Muskogee County School District has paid $669,449 on average in legal fees. By comparison, Henry County Board of Education, whose student population is 26% larger, pays 53% of what the Muskogee County School District pays. Cherokee County is 20% larger, but pays 62% of what the Muskogee County School District pays for attorneys. Houston County is 17% smaller, but the Muskogee County School District pays 766% of what Houston County pays for in legal fees. The reaction of the criticisms that have been lodged against the Muskogee County School District has been to hurl untrue and hurtful accusations at me and others for making warranted criticisms of their failed policies. For some, this is just the way politics is played. But I want every member of this chamber to know I take this office seriously, and I would not do anything to bring discredit on you or this sacred chamber. For some, the notion of ethics in government is an oxymoron to be laughed at and mocked. But for me, the grandson of grocers who counted on their reputation to build their business, and the son of an attorney who built his practice on his reputation, and a victim service officer who works every day helping victims of crime and their families and holds a great public trust, I understand I have only one reputation, and it is a great one that I've inherited. So my message to those who have lost this policy argument and have resorted to gutter tactics to sully my reputation, I will tell you this: I will defend my reputation to the last. I will not be silenced in advocating for the taxpayers of the Senate District 29, and I will not stop fighting for the simple notion of honest, competent, ethical government. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. We have some special guests we'd like to recognize, and the Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 264 by Senator Hill of the 6th. A resolution recognizing and commending the Ahavath Achim Synagogue on the occasion of its 125th anniversary and for other purposes. Whereas the Ahavath Achim Synagogue of Atlanta, Georgia was organized in 1887, the first synagogue was erected in 1900, and during the high holidays of 1958, the congregation moved to its current home on Peachtree Battle Avenue. And whereas this house of worship has reached a time-tested age of 125 years and is an undying testament to its past and present congregations. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body recognize Ahavath Achim Synagogue for its rich and unprecedented history, commend it on its 125 years of dedicated spiritual service to the community, this state, and the country, and extend best wishes for continued growth and success. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. Speak to the resolution. I call upon the distinguished senator from the 6th.
Good morning, everyone. Today I am joined by a number of friends from the Ahavath Achim Synagogue. And we all have important religious institutions in our district, and we're always honored to celebrate them. But this particular synagogue is celebrating its 125th anniversary this year. It has been a stalwart member of the entire Atlanta community, not just the Buckhead community, since its inception in 1880. Make sure I get it right, 1887. And so I'm joined up here by Atlanta Municipal Court Judge Gary Jackson, Doug Andler. Doug Andler is the Executive Vice President of the synagogue, Attorney Bobby Ezor, and, of course, Rabbi Neil Sandler. I'm going to turn it over to Rabbi Neil Sandler to give us a few words, and thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Senator. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and Senator Hill. First off, on behalf of all of us who are up here, we take the opportunity to thank the Atlanta Falcons for serving as our warm-up here this morning. We do, however, again, thank all of you for this recognition of a very special anniversary for our congregation. As Senator Hill mentioned to you, an institution that has been present within a community for so many years makes a difference that extends well beyond the membership of the congregation. It extends really to the community. That is the nature of institutions that are around for a long time, whether they are government arms as institutions, as this Senate is, or it is congregations, as my congregation, Ahavat Achim. So we are proud of what it is that we have accomplished, and we join with you in continuing, God willing, to make a difference not just to those we directly serve, but in fact to our entire community. We wish you well in the rest of this day and in fact in the rest of your session. Thank you.
Let's pose for a picture down on the steps. Thank you all very much for being here today. Are you ready? We have some more special guests we would like to recognize at this time, and we're actually going to do it down at the well of the Senate for Miss Pettis. It's a great honor to recognize the Pettis family that is with us, and we have a very special resolution. And if the secretary will read the resolution. We're not going to read the resolution. Okay. It's my honor now to call upon the distinguished senator from Gwinnett, our President Pro Tem, to present the resolution.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, it's my privilege, along with the senator from the 33rd, who's absent here today, to present Senate Resolution 242, honoring the life of a good friend to many of us and a great public servant. He was not a public servant in the sense that he held political office. He was a public servant in the sense that he was a reporter, a journalist who shined light on the work of this building and at the same time maintained the highest standards of accuracy, integrity, and professionalism. I have missed him every day since he retired several years ago, and miss him even more knowing now that in this life I can't exchange another telephone call or email message with him. He was a great friend to me for 25 years, kind of friend that I squabbled with on some days, but loved dearly all the time. And he will be remembered in the hearts of everyone who is here, who knew him. And after we are all gone, he will be remembered because with the adoption of Senate Resolution 242, there will be a plaque placed in the press gallery where he sat honoring Dick Pettis, a longtime reporter with the Associated Press and the dean of the Capitol Press Corps for many years. And it's my privilege, in addition to presenting this resolution, to welcome members of his family and some of his closest friends who are here in the chamber with us today. If you'll join me in welcoming them. Does anyone want to say anything from the family? Do you want to say something?
My name is Bo Pettis. I am Dick Pettis' second son. We have just been given a similar ceremony in the house, and I had the opportunity to play with the gavel and threaten them with a good old rap of the gavel and a sine die, and that's why we are down here now. It is my fault. On behalf of my mother, Stephanie, my brothers, Richard and Chip, and my father, the dean himself, I want to thank you for this honor. Dad was not politically connected personally, but he was the most politically connected person in a genealogical sense that I have ever known, except for, obviously, my brothers. In 2004, for instance, it would not have mattered who won the presidential election, as he was related to both candidates. In Europe, they call that royalty. In America, it just means that somebody married a cousin.
That's pretty
it's okay.
good. That's
it's okay.
pretty good.
You can laugh. It's all right. You can do that. Being directly descended from 7 presidents and 2 prime ministers, and born with an inquisitive mind and a wry sense of humor, and given the bug to write by his high school teacher, Catherine Cannell, he was well suited for what was to become his life's work. As a reporter, My father was glad to have the opportunity to tout the good, to help bring the questionable into account, and to give a couple of taps on the flickering light bulb in the dark room with the elephant in it. He was the writer to call when you wanted a fair shake, whether you were Democrat or Republican. He was the reporter who would calmly and politely prod you to the point of exasperation if he felt you were missing a detail or two and weren't coming clean. He was very accommodating as well. If during a phone interview, which on occasion turned into a confessional, if the clickety-clack of his typing started giving you the heebie-jeebies, he'd pull the much quieter notepad and pen from his pocket and switch to handwriting the interview instead, just to make you feel better about giving up the goods. Dad used the trusty notepad and pen religiously, and they became his trademark. During an interview with Nightline regarding an execution he had witnessed 15 years earlier, my father pulled a notepad from the night of said execution, 15 years prior. The producer of the show was flabbergasted that my father had kept the notepad for 15 years. Evidently, prior to my dad's appearance on Nightline, it had been at least that long since they had seen a real reporter. I don't know what to say about that. He never threw a notepad away, so don't be nervous. We've kept them all, and there are a lot of names mentioned in that notepad here, present. Dad was not flashy or over the top in his demeanor. To be fair, my father was a statesman journalist, and his state was Georgia. Dick Pettis never wrote puff pieces and never towed a party line. Dad retired to the hills of Habersham, where his neighbors only learned about his career through the stories that followed his passing. He was innately humble and very self-aware, unless given a purpose, and then he was unstoppable. So when you remember my father, and you think about his fairness or his even-handedness or the fact that most people could never tell what his political leanings might be, despite the fact that he wrote thousands upon thousands of articles over 40 years, think about this. My father believed that people are more complex than a gaffe or a now unpopular political stance on a single issue that was held many years past. My father believed that no one is all good and that no one is all bad, and that everyone deserves respect, sometimes forgiveness, and above all, a fair shake. I firmly believe that the body of his work reflects this. Though he retired twice and was fortunate enough to hear all of the wonderful things said about him, he would never have suspected that on October 9th, 2012, the flags of the Georgia State Capitol would be flown at half-mast in his honor, and that the story of his third and final retirement would fill the pages of search engines, results, and be the top trending article on social networking sites. In a million years, he'd never believe the honor that was given him today. If someone were to tell him that something like this were possible or even likely, he would laugh and tell you that you were full of campaign promises. At this moment, I'd also like to recognize the fact that Dick Yarbrough is doing the portrait for my father, and he can tell you a little bit more about that. Please welcome Dick Yarbrough.
Some of you know I write a newspaper column on occasion, and I was asked over in the house if I would like to give it up for about 4 or 5 months while I painted this painting. I'll try to continue to do both, but this is a labor of love. I love Dick Pettis, I love his family, and I love the opportunity to paint this portrait, which will hang here in the Capitol. It's a great honor, and thanks to the Pettis family for allowing me to do this. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. Senator from the 2nd, were you wishing to? Chair recognizes Senator from the 2nd. Point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I rise to inform you of a little-known Medicaid expansion fact. Georgia vets, our fighting heroes, would gain health care coverage through Medicaid if Georgia's Medicaid expands in 2014. In Georgia, right now, nearly 1 in 8 veterans under the age of 65 do not have health care coverage in our great state. Georgia is home to Georgia is the 4th largest population of uninsured veterans in the United States. 56,000 vets in Georgia lacks health care coverage. 56,000 vets in Georgia lacks health care coverage. Roughly 42,000 families associated with veterans lack health care coverage. Nationally, nearly 1/2 the country's uninsured vets, 1/3 of families, could gain coverage through Medicare if Georgia would expand the eligibility to 138% of the poverty rate, as envisioned by the Affordable Health Care Act. 27,000 uninsured vets in Georgia could gain access to health care coverage if the state would expand Medicaid in 2014. And then with that means 15,000 uninsured families would gain coverage through the Affordable Health Care Act. Medicaid expansion could cover half the nation's uninsured vets, these heroes for freedom, if we would expand Medicaid. Not all veterans have access to health care coverage through the Department of Veteran Affairs. Not all veterans have access. But we, this body, in 2014 can give them access. Although veterans have a greater access to health care coverage than the general population without job-based health care coverage, they face a similar barriers. If we don't help those that help us, why are we here? Veterans are our true heroes. Veterans fought for our freedom. Because we exist in this chamber today are because of veterans. Because we can go home and feel safe and think that we're going to wake up in a better environment, in a safe community, we owe to veterans. Shouldn't we allow them to have health care coverage? Shouldn't we do our part for our heroes? Let's fight. As our veterans fight for us, let's fight for them here in this body and give them health care coverage. Let's fight in 2014. Let's fight in 2013. Let's fight to give veterans health care coverage. Mr. President, I yield the well.
Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 562 by Senators Gooch of the 51st and others. A resolution congratulating the White County High School WTVN Warrior TV broadcast team on their first place win at the 2013 Student Television National Convention and for other purposes. Whereas in the school year 2010-2011, 5 students under the direction of Charles DeWalt began to follow a dream to develop a web-based television network from White County High School. And whereas the White County High School WTVN Warrior TV broadcast team took home the award for Best Overall Broadcasting, along with a $10,000 in prize money, with the 2013 Student Television National Convention in Los Angeles, California. And whereas the incredible success of this exemplary team would not have been possible without the astute direction and unyielding support of drama teacher Pete Talton, executive producer and WTVN executive director Charles DeWalt, White County Board of Education member Nancy Wisniewski, White County School Superintendent Mr. Jeff Wilson, and White County High School Principal Mr. John Osborne. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body congratulate the White County High School WTVN Warrior TV broadcast team on their first place win at the 2013 Student Television National Convention, commend them for setting a national standard through their commitment to excellence, and extend their sincere best wishes for future success. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair is none, and the resolution is adopted. To speak to the resolution, I call upon the distinguished senator from the 51st.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. You know, we honor a lot of young people in this chamber
from day to day throughout our session for a lot of accomplishments, whether it's athletics or academics. And most of the time it's about something here locally or in the state. But today I'm honored to present the White County Warriors TV network group that not only won some awards in Texas, but they also went to California and they brought back a national title for their efforts. And I'd like to recognize this group today. There's also some of their colleagues up in the balcony. We'd like to recognize them. If you would stand up, all the White County Warrior TV network folks. Thank y'all. This competition is hosted by the U.S. Department of Education, where students from all over the U.S. travel to Los Angeles, California to compete for this coveted award. And the White County Warrior TV network brought home the national championship this year. I'd like to recognize John Jackson, who is the anchor for the crowd, and I'd like to have him come up and give a few remarks as well. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Gooch, members of the Senate, we are honored and privileged to be here today for this honoring resolution. I'm John Jackson, and here with me is Conan Patel, Charles DeWalt, Kayla Everett, and Samuel Pruitt. We all formed this 3 years ago, and we're very proud of it. On behalf of WTVN and the staff, faculty, and administration of White County High School, we'd like to show our esteemed gratitude for honoring us. We're grateful. We are. We could have never achieved such an honor without the hard work and dedication from those of us here on the stage, up in the gallery, and back home. The efforts we've shown are only the beginning. We hope to continue our program and reach bigger titles. Both of my fellow founding members and myself can agree that when we pass on the torch this coming May with our graduation to our underclassmen, it'll be passed on to hands that will take care of our program and help it continue on with professional student broadcasting, along with blossoming it into a program that 3 years ago we could have never possibly imagined. But all our achievements, all our awards, all our broadcasts could not be possible without the dedication, motivation, and guidance of Mr. Charles DeWalt, who from the beginning has been pushing us to go forward since day one. He has excelled as a teacher and an instructor, but much more than this, he is my friend, whose memory I'll remember for the rest of my life. Charles, has been an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure. Would you like to say some words?
Thank you. This is not possible without a whole group of people, and it's just an honor to be here. And on behalf of White County High School, thank you so much for this honor of being here in the Senate and also over in the House. We appreciate it so much. Thank you to all of our staff and teachers, Ms. Wazinski and Mr. Talton up there, who have worked so tirelessly hard in making this program what it is. Thank you again for having us.
Well done. Thank y'all very, very much. Appreciate it. Okay. Thank you. Best wishes. Okay. Have a good day. Thanks. Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 616 by Senators Harbison the 15th and others. A resolution commending the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame, Colonel Paul Richard Longyear, Captain Clifford Paul Barnes, Colonel Richard H. White, Sergeant Harry Howard Gregory IV, and Specialist Richard Lee Schooley, and for other purposes. Whereas there are over 770,000 living veterans in the state of Georgia, and whereas those instrumental in founding the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame are deserving of recognition and appreciation, and chief among them being Colonel Paul Richard Longyear, Captain Clifford Paul Barnes, Colonel Richard H. White, Sergeant Harry Howard Gregory IV, and Specialist Richard Lee Schooley. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body recognize and commend the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame, Colonel Paul Richard Longyear, Captain Clifford Paul Barnes, Colonel Richard H. White, Sergeant Harry Howard Gregory IV, and Specialist Richard Lee Schooley. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? Chair is none. The resolution is adopted. To speak to the resolution, I call upon the distinguished senator from the 15th.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. It gives me a great deal of pleasure today to recognize these gentlemen standing behind me. We use the expression a lot of time in our chambers about being a hero, but these are legitimate, validated heroes behind us, and I just want us to use this occasion to commend them for the extraordinary thing they're doing and recognizing some of their own people of valor, people of integrity, and people of honor who have served our country in valiant ways. So I just want to just take this time and have us as a body to commend them, to commemorate what they are doing and what they stand for. They stand for America. They stand for all that's good, and they have sacrificed and they survived some extraordinary circumstances. Colonel established the Hall of Fame, and we just want to commend you for doing that. Let's give them a great round of applause, everybody. Colonel,
Thank you very much. We appreciate everything you do. You lay it on the line, you come up here and you're scrutinized for every decision. And we respect that because our background sometimes includes that. We come here today not to ask anything from you. We don't take state money, we don't take federal money. We come up here to serve the Americans from Georgia that have made this country what it is. If it wasn't for the military of the USA, there wouldn't be a USA. And a lot of these guys come back home, they take their uniform off, they become truck drivers, painters, bankers. Some of them wind up in government, and a lot of people don't have any idea they're heroes. The only heroes recognized in Georgia so far are the 30 that's on the wall, the pictures of the Hall of Fame. And so our purpose in life is to find Georgians from every war, including the war on terror now, and to respect them, show them the respect that they deserve, because we wouldn't be having this meeting today if they hadn't laid their lives on the line. God bless you and thank you.
You have some consent calendar of privilege resolutions that are before you. Is there objection? Chair recognizes Senator from the 16th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I've had a lot of questions about our schedule for Monday. We are coming in at 10 a.m. on Monday. So just so you, for planning purposes, everyone knows we're coming in at 10 a.m. on Monday. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will.
Is there objection on the privileged resolutions, the consent calendar? Chair hears none, and the consent calendar is therefore adopted. Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 617 by Senator Wilkinson of the 50th. A resolution requesting the implementation of comprehensive school counseling programs for Georgia students and for other purposes.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted.
Through with your order, Mr. President.
Are there any motions to withdraw or commit? Let me ask the we have, if I could have the Senate's attention just for a moment, we do have another recognition at this time. Get them back there. Mr. Sergeant at Arms. please escort our guest along with the escort committee to the rostrum at this time. Well, I tell you what, I have never seen as many people come out of the woodwork to celebrate any two people's retirement like I am today. This is pretty remarkable. The new clerk will read a resolution. Yeah. You got it. You got it.
Senate Resolution 650 by Senator Schaefer and others. Recognizing and commending Mr. Robert F. Ewing on his service to the state of Georgia and on the occasion of his retirement and for other purposes. Whereas the office of the Secretary of the Senate was created in 1789 and has proudly served the citizens of Georgia along with the Georgia State Senate for over 200 years. The position being most recently filled by the Honorable Bob Ewing. Whereas Mr. Ewing is united in love and marriage to Debbie Ewing and is blessed with two remarkable children, Kendall and Ben. Whereas in 1979, Mr. Ewing approached then Secretary Hamilton McWhorter, Jr. for a job and was hired for a session position as a member of the crew, where he learned the working of this office from the ground up under his tutelage. And whereas as Deputy Secretary under Secretary Frank Eldridge Jr., he learned the value of technology and was instrumental in developing the voting system in the Senate chamber and creating the Senate proposed first reader's document. And whereas he has performed and dispatched his various duties with due diligence, careful attention, and an exceptional dedication to the spirit of nonpartisan cooperation for the governing of our fair state. And whereas Mr. Ewing, during his more than 30 years of service to his adopted state of Georgia, has always managed to maintain a calm, consistent, professional demeanor in the face of daily challenges that can only be described euphemistically as daunting. And whereas Mr. Ewing has decided to enter into retirement after his 34 years of service to the state of Georgia, leaving behind a respected, admirable legacy of a job well done. Whereas Mr. Ewing will be taking with him the best wishes and loving affection of the extremely varied collection of fellow Secretary of the Senate office employees who, with his kind-hearted and dedicated assistance over a period of so many years, were often introduced to and shepherded through the intricacies of state government in all of its arcane, inscrutable, ambiguous, frustrating, and even infuriating glory. And whereas Mr. Ewing, during his tenure as secretary, has enabled his staff to set and meet an extraordinarily high standard of performance, commendably fulfilling their constitutionally mandated task as custodian for all bills, resolutions, substitutes, amendments, records, papers, and official documents filed with the Senate, and doing so in such a way as to justly earn and maintain a reputation as a properly governed and ethically upright office. And whereas somehow he has succeeded in accomplishing all of this year after year, while still retaining his remarkable sense of humor, in sharing his wisdom with his staff, he has frequently shared the quote, and I quote, "When the going gets weird, the weird turn pro." Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend Bob Ewing for an exemplary career, congratulate him on turning pro, and wish him many years of health and happiness. Be it further resolved that the President of the Senate is authorized and directed to transmit an appropriate copy of this resolution to Mr. Bob Ewing.
Is there objection? Without objection, the resolution is adopted. Let me just say before we allow our secretary to make some comments. Obviously, 34 wonderful years that he's worked in the secretary's office and the Senate, and he is just an individual that I think all of us have learned to admire, appreciate, respect, and love. He brings to the office a calmness. As long as I've known him for the 19 years that I've been here, he has always really conducted himself in the most professional way ever. And the experience that he gained from Hamilton McWhorter and also Frank Eldridge, and he has just been a dear friend. He is as nonpartisan as anybody that I could have ever imagined to be here to my side. I'm the only partisan one here, and he tries to talk me out of doing these bad things that I do from time to time. But he truly is a very wonderful individual and a true pro. So please join me in welcoming to the microphone our Secretary of the Senate, Bob Ewing.
Thank you, thank you. Here, I thought I knew everything that was going on around here. I am just shocked, but prepared. Thank you all. I have been truly blessed to work in this office of the Secretary of the Senate for 34 years. When I was placed at my first desk and given my IBM Selectric 2 typewriter and my whiteout paper, I felt like I had died and gone to heaven. I was off the roof for good. I was actually working my first indoor job. Over the years, I was mentored and essentially raised by a kind Southern gentleman and 8 deeply protective women who taught me the intricacies of recording the legislative process. For every question I posed, I would get a long history lesson showing how the answers had come to be. And as I've learned, the process is always evolving. I've served under 6 governors, 4 lieutenant governors, and have witnessed 276 senators grace this chamber throughout the years. Being elected secretary was without question the highlight of my career. This room is my sanctuary. I often come here in the evening and sit in my seat. It's as if I can hear the voices of members past, debating the stirring issues of their day. It inspires awe. You are part of a great tradition. When I received the title of secretary in 2006, I was filled with pride. Returning to my office after my election that morning, I clearly remember the first letter I received from the Lieutenant Governor's office. The address on the envelope left a deep and lasting impression on me. It read, "Honorable Bob Ewing." It impressed upon me the awesome responsibilities conferred by title, being worthy of honor. It's not to be taken lightly. You are all addressed as honorable by your colleagues and constituents. I hope the weight of that title likewise humbles you each and every day. I want to leave this body with that one thing that influenced me the most. I thought back over the years of listening to the speeches from the well. The vision that will stay with me forever is the deep breath and exhalation that a member takes who, after rising and speaking his heart, states, "Mr. President, I yield the well." As she steps down, the members on the aisle shake her hand and pat her on the back. She knows deep down inside how it feels to be a statesman, that she is a statesman and not just a politician. This is the high point of this arena. It's not the rote passing of day-to-day legislation, but the speech that occurs on an issue of substance, a speech that stirs the hearts of those in favor and of those opposed. That is what I will remember. What an amazing process. I want to thank everyone I've met over the years who has made this Senate such a special family. You know who you are. I know that we have made great changes for the members and for all Georgians so that their government and its actions are available right at their fingertips. I want to thank my family and my staff for their support. Thank you all for what you do. I wish you long life and happiness.
Well, as you would expect the Secretary to say, it's time to get back to work, but actually not so quick. We actually have Frida that has another resolution that I'll call upon her to read. No, you can do it here.
This is a distinct honor for me. I love these two men. And to be able to speak for Jeffrey, wow. But he's paid me not to say so much. So. This is legal here. A resolution recognizing and commending Mr. Jeffrey W. Foley on his service to the state of Georgia and on the occasion of his retirement and for other purposes. Whereas shortly after the office of the Secretary of the Senate was created in 1789, the necessity for able assistance became apparent, resulting in the creation of the concomitant office of the Deputy Secretary of the Senate, the holder of which position has proudly served the citizens of Georgia and the Georgia State Senate for over 200 years, most recently being filled by the Honorable Jeffrey Foley. Whereas he was born in Montreal, Canada, grew up in Plattsburgh, New York, and moved to Georgia, eventually becoming a United States citizen in 2004. And whereas Jeffrey Foley was hired as a crew member for the 1985 session and went on to manage the Senate session crew for many years before becoming Deputy Secretary in 2006. And whereas Jeffrey Foley has fulfilled his position as Deputy Secretary with not only daily diligence and consistent dedication to duty, but has done so in his own inimitably gregarious style, a style most likely and regrettably never to be repeated, a style which over the course of almost 3 decades has served to support, encourage, enable, and entertain uncounted numbers of fellow employees on the Georgia Senate staff, as well as hundreds of originally wary but eventually grateful senators. And whereas he is known for his love of the outdoors and his annually anticipated oyster roast, and whereas he has been united in love and marriage to his wife Kay for 32 years and is blessed with one son, West. Whereas Jeffrey Foley has decided to enter into retirement from his 28 years of service to the Democratic government of the state of Georgia, leaving behind a respected, admirable legacy of a job well done, as well as a personal standard for congeniality and cooperation we can only hope will be emulated by his successors, taking with him into retirement the admiration and affection of nearly everyone he has ever met over the course of his career. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend Mr. Jeffrey W. Foley for an exemplary career, wish him nothing but the best of health and happiness in his retirement. Be it further resolved that the Secretary of the Senate is authorized and directed to transmit an appropriate copy of this resolution to his deputy and his friend, Mr. Jeffrey W. Foley.
Thank you. Love it. Good job. Is there objection? Without objection, the resolution is adopted. 28 wonderful years. I think all of us, it's amazing. You first get to meet Jeffrey. I'll never forget when I came here in 1994, getting to meet Jeffrey. You know, I mean, he'd get you your pen and pens and all the things that you needed. And all I can say is he's a one of a kind. You know, I mean, he is absolutely a one of a kind. But he is a dear individual who has served this state with wonderful distinction, and we all love him. We're going to miss him, but I didn't know that we had hired an illegal immigrant, but until we read the resolution. But don't let the media report that, But no, I'm teasing. But it's a great honor that I bring to the microphone now our friend Jeffrey Foley.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to make this short and sweet. We got a lot of work to do, but looking around at all these lovely faces, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've had a good time, but I'm going to look forward to not being here. So y'all take care now. Bye.
Absolutely. Let me also say that in the gallery, and I mean, there's so many people obviously here in the Senate, but many individuals that are former employees that have come back to celebrate and obviously show their love and affection for both of these individuals. But I know Steve Hayes is here, Billy Hughes is here, Joe Young is here. I don't know how he got through security. Scott Maxwell is here, Lee Hughes is here, and also David Cook is here as well. So thank all of you very, very much for coming and sharing in this very special time. And actually, we timed it just beautifully to go ahead and stand at ease until 1:15 for lunch. You got something relative to this issue? Okay, Chair recognizes Senator from 27th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to make an announcement that regulated industries and utilities will meet upon this recess in 450 in the Capitol.
450 in the Capitol. Very good.
Yes,
well, we will stand at ease until 1:15 for lunch. Thank you very much.